1 minute to change lifts. After that, no more changes to openers. 1 minute, lifters. No more changes to openers. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of Last Chance. We're going to get going here in just under 3 minutes with our lifters, and we're looking forward to another great day of lifts, PRs, and all the successes for our lifters today. So our first lifter of the day is going to be Teresa, followed by Dana, and then Kate. Just a couple minutes and we'll get started here. So Kate is going to open today with 100 even on the bar. Teresa's going to open with 100 on the bar. Bar's loaded for Teresa. And that's a good lift for Teresa. Nice. Next we have Dana, followed by Kate, and then Chelsea. Dana's going to start with 102.5 on the bar. Bar's loaded for Dana. And 2 greens. That's a good lift for Dana. Good lift for Dana. Next we have Kate with 105 kilograms on the bar, followed by Chelsea and then Milena. Bar is loaded for Kate. And that's a good lift. It's a good lift for Kate. Next we have Chelsea with 107.5 on the bar, followed by Milena, then Haley. Bar is loaded. And that's a good lift for Chelsea. Good job. Next up, we have Milena with 115 on the bar, followed by Haley and then Tori. Bar's loaded. And that's a good lift for Milena. Good job. Next, we have Haley with 120 on the bar, followed by Tori and then Brittany. Bar's loaded. And that's a good lift for Haley. Next, we have Tori, who wants 120 on the bar. 120 on the bar. Tori, followed by Brittany, and then Rashina. Bar's loaded. And that's no lift for Tori, but she'll get it next time. Next we have Brittany, who wants 130 on the bar, followed by Rashina, and then back to the top of the list with Teresa. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Brittany. Next, Rashina would like 180 on the bar, followed by Teresa, then Dana. Then, oh, they switched. Oh. Bars loaded. It's not switching on my computer, but yes, I see it. That's a good lift for Rashina. So next we have Teresa, who wants 105 on the bar, followed by Kate and then Chelsea. Bars loaded for Teresa. No lift, but a really good effort, and she'll try it again on her third. So next we have Kate with 112.5, followed by Chelsea, then Dana. Lifters in flight B, we're starting our second set, our second squats, so just so you're ready. Bars loaded for Kate. And that's a good lift for Kate. Next we have Chelsea, who wants 115 on the bar, followed by Dana, and then Tori. Bars loaded for Chelsea. And that's a good lift for Chelsea. Good job. Next we have Dana, who wants 115 on the bar as well, followed by Tori and then Milena. Bars loaded for Dana. And no lift for Dana, but she'll come back and try it again on her third. Next we have Tori, who wants 120 on the bar, followed by Milena, then Haley. Bars loaded for Tori. And that's a good lift for Tori. We knew she'd get it. Next up, we have Milena, who would like 122.5 on the bar, followed by Haley and then Brittany. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift. Great job, Milena. Next up, we have Haley, who would like 127.5 on the bar, followed by Brittany and then Rashina. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Haley. Great job. Next, we have Brittany, who would like 140 on the bar, followed by Rashina, and then back to the top of our lifter list with Teresa. With this one? This will be a provincial record attempt, so let's really get behind her here. No small feet. Bar is loaded. Let's go, Brittany. And that's a good lift and a new provincial record for Brittany. Good job. Awesome. Next we have Rashina, who would like 187.5 on the bar. And back to the top of the list with Teresa and then Kate. Bars loaded for Rashina. And that's a good lift for Rashina. Good job. So next we have Teresa, who is going to reattempt 105, followed by Dana and then Kate. Lifters in flight B, we're starting our last set of squats. Bars loaded for Teresa. And that's no lift for Teresa, but she got her first lift, so she's on the board. Next we have Dana, who would like 115 on the bar, followed by Kate, and then Chelsea. Bars loaded. And that's no lift for Dana, but she's on the board with her first lift. Good job, Dana. Next we have Kate, who would like 115 on the bar, followed by Chelsea, and then Milena. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Kate. It's a good lift for Kate. So next we have Chelsea, who would like 120 on the bar, followed by Milena and then Haley. Bars loaded for Chelsea. And that's a good lift for Chelsea. She gets it. Next we have Milena, who'd like 125 on the bar, followed by Haley and then Tori. Flight B lifters, 2 lifters left to change your openers, 2 lifters left to change your openers. And the bar's loaded for Milena. And not today for Milena, but she's on the board with her first 2 lifts. Good job, Milena. Next we have Haley, who would like 132.5 on the bar, followed by Tori and then Brittany. And bars loaded for Haley. And that's a good lift for Haley with lots left in the tank. Next we have Tori, who would like 132.5 on the bar, followed by Brittany and then Rashina. Bar is loaded. And that's a good lift for Tori. Finishing strong. Brittany is next with 150 on the bar, followed by Rashina. This is a provincial record attempt, so let's get behind her on this one. Bar is loaded for Brittany. And that's a good lift and a new provincial record. Good job, Brittany. And we're finishing out Flight A squats with Rashina, who would like 192.5 on the bar. Bars loaded for Rashina. Let's go, Rashina. And good try, Rashina, good try. Not today. Flight B, we're going to start Flight B with our first lifter, Kala, who would like 90 on the bar. Followed by Vicky and then Michelle. And the bar is loaded for Kala. And that's a good lift for Kala. Nice. Vicky would also like 90 kilos on the bar, followed by Michelle and then Heidi. Bars loaded for Vicky. And that's a good lift for Vicky. Great job. Next we have Michelle, who would like 110 on the bar, followed by Heidi and then Max. And the bar is loaded for Michelle. And that's a good lift for Michelle. Next we have Heidi, who would like 145 on the bar, followed by Max and then Kyle. And the bar is loaded for Heidi. And that's a good lift for Heidi. Next up, we have Max, who would like 157.5 on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Nathan. Bars loaded for Max. And that's a good lift for Max. Good job, Max. Next up, we have Kyle, who would like 197.5 on the bar, followed by Nathan and then Andreas. Bars loaded for Kyle. And that's a good lift for Kyle. Good job. Next, we have Nathan, who would like 205 on the bar, followed by Andreas, and then Ryan. Bars loaded for Nathan. And that's a good lift for Nathan. Next up is Andreas, who would like 215 on the bar, followed by Ryan, and then Aaron. Bars loaded for Andreas. And that's a good lift for Andreas. Good job. Ryan up next with 275, followed by Aaron, and then back to the top of the flight with Kala. Bars loaded for Ryan. And that's a good lift. Good job. Next, we have Aaron, who would like 295 on the bar, followed by Kala, and then Vicky. Bars loaded for Aaron. And that's a good lift for Aaron. Nice. Next up, we have Vicky, who would like 97.5 on the bar, followed by Kala and then Michelle. Bars loaded for Vicky. And an awesome lift and a good lift for Vicky. Next up, we have Kala, who would like 100 kilos on the bar, followed by Michelle and then Heidi. Bars loaded for Kala. And that's a good lift for Kala. Next up, we have Michelle, who would like 120 on the bar, followed by Heidi and then Max. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Michelle. Next up is Heidi, who would like 155 on the bar, followed by Max and then Kyle. And the bar is loaded for Heidi. And that's a good lift for Heidi. Nice. Next up, we have Max, who would like 165 on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Nathan. Bars loaded for max. And that's a good lift for max. Next up, we have Kyle, who would like 205 on the bar, followed by Nathan, and then Andreas. Bars loaded for Kyle. Nice and smooth. That's a good lift for Kyle. Next up, we have Nathan, who would like 220 on the bar, followed by Andreas, and then Ryan. Bars loaded for Nathan. And that's a good lift for Nathan. Next up, we have Andreas, who would like 227.5 on the bar, followed by Ryan, and then Aaron. Bars loaded for Andreas. Let's go, Andreas. And that's a good lift for Andreas. Next up, we have Ryan, who would like 285 on the bar, followed by Aaron, and then back to the top of the list with Vicky. Bars loaded for Ryan. And a good lift for Ryan. Nice. Nice work. Next up, we have Aaron, who would like 315 on the bar, followed by Vicky and then Kala. Bars loaded for Aaron. It's a big lift, guys. Let's get behind him on this one. And it's a good lift for Aaron today. Nice work. Next up, we have Vicky. Last set of squats here for the day. We have Vicky, who would like 102.5 on the bar, followed by Kala, and then Michelle. Bars loaded for Vicky. Let's go, Vicky. And that's a good lift for Vicky. Nice and fast to finish the day. Lots left in the tank. Next up, we have Kala, who would like 110.5. 110.5, is this a record? This is a provincial record for Kala's going to attempt. And then we have Michelle and then Heidi. Let's get behind Kala on this provincial record attempt here. $110.5. Provincial record attempt. Bars loaded for Kala. Let's get behind her on this attempt here, guys. Not today. She'll come back and try that again next time. Nice try, Kala. Next up, we have Michelle, who would like 130 on the bar, followed by Heidi, and then Max. Bars loaded for Michelle. And that's a good lift for Michelle and looks like a new personal best in competition. Nice work, Michelle. Next up, we have Heidi, who would like 162.5 on the bar, followed by Max and then Kyle. Bars loaded for Heidi. Yep, and that's a good lift for Heidi. Nice work. Next up, we have Max, who would like 170 on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Nathan. Bars loaded for Max. Let's go, Max, you got this. And that's a good lift for Max. Next up, we have Kyle, who would like 212.5 on the bar, followed by Nathan, and then Andreas. Bars loaded for Kyle. And that's a good lift for Kyle, nice and smooth. Next up, we have Nathan, who would like 232.5 on the bar, followed by Andreas and then Ryan. Bars loaded for Nathan. And no lift today, but he'll come back and try that another day for sure. Nice work, Nathan. Next up, we have Andreas, who would like 237.5 on the bar, followed by Ryan, then Aaron. Bars loaded for Andreas. Yep. And that's a good lift for Andreas. Nice. Next up, we have Ryan, who would like 293 on the bar. Provincial record attempt for Ryan, followed by Aaron. 293, provincial record attempt for Ryan. Let's all get behind him on this one. Last two lifters for squat of the day. Bars loaded for Ryan. Oh, not today. Not today for provincial record, but he'll come back and try that again next time. Good job, Ryan. Good job. And final squat of the day, we have Aaron, who would like 325.5. Which is an unofficial national record, open national record attempt, unofficial. Let's all get behind Aaron on this one. Bars loaded for Aaron. Let's go, Aaron. And just like that, the squats are done. What a great way to end the squats. Nice work, amazing. I'd like to give a shout out to our spotters and loaders for keeping our lifters safe today and making sure that they're always feeling safe and secure on the platform. So first of many shout outs to the spotters and loaders today. We're going to take a break now before we move into bench, do a little bit of resetting up, reconfiguring, get up, stretch your legs, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Our break will be 10 minutes here, and then we will get started with the bench. Lifters in flight A, 2 minutes to change your openers. 2 minutes to change your openers. Flight A, no more changes to openers. 3 minutes till we get started. 3 minutes. Just over 30 seconds till we get started on lifting. Referees, spotters, loaders to the platform, please. We're going to start this next bench session with Dana, then Teresa, then Chelsea. If anyone's interested, there are some extra competition shirts. They're adorable, available at the back table for $20. Go take a look. So first up with the bench, we're going to get started with Dana, followed by Teresa, and then Chelsea. Dana with like 45 kilos on the bar. Bars loaded. And that's no lift for Dana, but she'll come back and she'll try it again. Next up, we have Teresa, who would like 47.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Chelsea, and then Milena. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Teresa. Good job. Next up, we have Chelsea, who would like 57.5 on the bar, followed by Milena and Brittany. Bars loaded for Chelsea. Oh. Now the bar's loaded for Chelsea. And that's a good lift for Chelsea. Next up, we have Milena, who would like 65 kilos on the bar, followed by Brittany, and then Kate. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Milena. Nice. Next up, we have Brittany, who would like 67.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Kate and then Haley. Bars loaded for Brittany. And that's a good lift for Brittany. Next up is Kate, who would like 70 kilos on the bar, followed by Haley and then Tori. According to Kate, bench is her favorite lift. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Kate. Next up, we have Haley with 75 kilos on the bar, followed by Tori and then Rashina. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift. Next up, we have Tori, who would like 85 kilos on the bar, followed by Rashina. And then back to the top of the list with Dana. Bars loaded. Let's go, Tori. That's a good lift for Tori. Next up, Rashina with 97.5 on the bar, followed by Dana and then Teresa. Bars loaded for Rashina. And it's a good lift for Rashina. Back up to the top of flight A, we have Dana, who would like 47.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Teresa, and then Chelsea. Lifters in flight B, we're starting second bench attempts. Bars loaded for Dana. And that's a good lift for Dana, and she's on the board with a bench. Next up, we have Teresa with like 52.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Chelsea and then Milena. Bars loaded. And it's a good lift for Teresa. Next up, we have Chelsea with 60 kilos on the bar, followed by Milena, and then Brittany. Chelsea's a teacher in Weyburn. And the bar's loaded for Chelsea. And that's a good lift for Chelsea. Next up, we have Milena, who would like 67.5 on the bar, followed by Brittany and then Kate. Bars loaded. Not today for the lift, but she'll come back and try it again on her next attempt. Next up, we have Brittany, who would like 70 kilos on the bar, followed by Kate and then Haley. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Brittany. Way to stick with it, Brittany. Next up is Kate with 75 kilos on the bar, followed by Haley and then Tori. Bars loaded. And no lift. She'll come back and she'll try it again. Next up, we have Haley, then Tori, then Rashina. Haley with like 80 kilos on the bar. Haley started powerlifting thanks to her friend Destiny. Bars loaded. This is a provincial record attempt. Let's get behind Haley on this one. And that's a good lift and a new provincial record for Haley. Nice work. Next up, we have Rashina, who would like we have Tori, who would like 90 on the bar, followed by Rashina, and then back to the top of the list with Kala. Bars loaded for Tori. And no lift today. Tori jumped the press command, but she'll come out and try that again. Next up, we have Rashina, who would like 105.5 on the bar, followed by Kala, and then Dana. Bars loaded for Rashina. That was. And that's a good lift for Rashina and a new provincial record. Awesome job, Rashina. So next up we have Dana with like 52.5 on the bar, followed by Teresa and then Chelsea. Back to the top of the lifter list, final bench. Bar is loaded for Dana. That's a good lift for Dana to finish out her bench. Next up, we have Teresa, who would like 55 kilos on the bar, followed by Chelsea, and then Milena. Bars loaded. Nice struggle, but not today. Teresa's on the board with her previous bench. Next up, we have Chelsea, who would like 62.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Milena, and then Brittany. Bars loaded for Chelsea. A no lift for Chelsea, but she's on the board. Next up, we have Milena, who would like 67.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Brittany and then Kate. Bars loaded for Milena. Oh, no lift today, but Milena's on the board. Next up, we have Brittany with 72.5 kilos, followed by Kate and then Haley. Lifters in flight B, 2 lifters left to change your openers, 2 lifters left to change your openers. Bars loaded for Brittany. Not today, but Brittany is on the board with her bench. Next up, we have Kate, who would like 75 kilos on the bar, followed by Haley and then Tori. Bars loaded for Kate. This is it. One lifter left to change openers for flight B. And that's a nice lift for Kate. Good job. Next up, we have Haley. We have Haley, who would like 85 kilos on the bar, followed by Tori and then Rashina. Flight B, no more changes to openers. Flight B, no more changes. Bars loaded. This is a provincial record attempt for Haley. Let's get behind her. Let's cheer her on. This is a big lift. Let's go, Haley. Not today for that one, but she'll come back next time. She'll try that again. Next up, we have Tori, who would like 92.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Rashina, and then flight B. No more changes. Bars loaded. And that's a great lift for Tori at 92.5. Nice work. Next up, we have Rashina, who would like 107.5 on the bar, and then flight B, Kala, then Kyle. This is a provincial record attempt for Rashina. She's going to break the one, try to break the one she just set. Let's go, Rashina. Not today on that one, but Rashina's got her previous lift and provincial record. Next up, flight B. We're starting flight B with their first lifts. We have Kala, who would like 57.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Kyle. No, that's not right. I'm just waiting for my names to rearrange. Kala, then we have Michelle, and then Max. Bars loaded for Kala. There we go. Thank you. And no lift, but she'll come back and try that again. Next we have Vicky, who would like 62.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Michelle and then Max. Bars loaded for Vicky. And that's a good lift for Vicky. Next up, we have Michelle, who would like 80 kilos on the bar, followed by Max and then Heidi. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Michelle. Next up, we have Max, who would like 95 kilos on the bar, followed by Heidi and then Aaron. Bars loaded for Max. And no lift for Max today, but he'll come back and he'll get that next time. He jumped the command on that one. Next up, we have Heidi, who would like 120.5 on the bar. Is that a record? Ava? No. Followed by Aaron, then Andreas. Provincial record attempt for Heidi. Bars loaded. Let's go, Heidi. And that's a good lift and a new provincial record for Heidi. Next up, we have Aaron, who would like 125 on the bar, followed by Andreas and then Kyle. Bars loaded. And a good lift, nice and smooth for Aaron. Next up, we have Andreas, who would like 127.5 on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Ryan. Bars loaded for Andreas. And that's a good lift for Andreas, nice and smooth. Next up, we have Kyle, who would like 145 on the bar, followed by Ryan and then Nathan. Bars loaded for Kyle. And that's a good lift for Kyle. Next up, we have Ryan, who would like 150 on the bar, followed by Nathan, and then back up to the top of the list with Kala. Bars loaded. Let's go, Ryan. And that's a good lift for Ryan. Next up, we have Nathan, who would like 177.5 on the bar, followed by Kala and then Vicky. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Nathan. Nice work. Next up, we have Kala, who would like 60 kilos on the bar, followed by Vicky and then Michelle. Kala is a student in 9th grade in Weyburn. Kala also said she loves bench, makes her feel strongest. Bars loaded for Kala. And that's a good lift for Kala. Kala's on the board with her bench. Next up, we have Vicky, who would like 67.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Michelle and then Max. Vicky owns a bakery. Bars loaded for Vicky. And that's a good lift for Vicky. Next up, we have Michelle with 87.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Max and then Heidi. Michelle's here from North Portal, Saskatchewan. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Michelle. Next up, we have Max with 95 kilos on the board, followed by Heidi and then Andreas. Max would like to give a shout out to Foundation Fitness. Bars loaded for Max. And that's a good lift for Max. Next up, we have Heidi with 125.5 provincial record attempt, followed by Andreas and then Kyle. Heidi currently holds the record and she's going to attempt to break it again. Bars loaded for Heidi. And that's a good lift and a new provincial record for Heidi. Next up, Andreas with 137.5 on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Ryan. Andreas wants to give a thank you to his wife Mandy as well as Krista for making sure he knew he lifted Sunday instead of Saturday. Bars loaded for Andreas. And that's no lift, but he'll come back and try that again. Next up, we have Kyle with 152.5, followed by Ryan and then Nathan. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Kyle. Next up, we have Ryan, who would like 155 on the bar, followed by Nathan and then Aaron. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Ryan, nice and smooth. Next up, we have Nathan, followed by Aaron, and then back to the top of the list with Kala. Bars loaded for Nathan. And that's a good lift for Nathan. Next up, we have Aaron with 225 on the bar, followed by Kala, then Vicky. Bars loaded for Aaron. And that's no lift for Aaron, but he'll come back. He'll try again. Next up, we have Kala, who would like 65.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Vicky and then Michelle. Kala is going to be attempting a provincial record on this bench. Her favorite lift, and she wants to thank her coach, Ryan. Let's get behind Kala on this lift. Bars loaded. Provincial record attempt for Kala. Not today, but she's going to come back and she's going to try that next time. It's a really good try, Kala. Kala's on the board with her bench, and we'll see her again during deadlifts. Next up, we have Vicky, who would like 72.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Michelle, and then Max. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift and a nice fight. Way to stick with it, Vicky. Next up, we have Michelle, who would like 92.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Max and then Heidi. Bars loaded. And no lift on that one for Michelle. Next up, we have Max, who would like 102.5 on the bar, followed by Heidi and then Andreas. Bars loaded for Max. And that's a good lift for Max. Next up, we have Heidi with 130.5. Provincial record attempt. Followed by Andreas, then Kyle. Provincial record attempt for Heidi. Bars loaded. Good catch, spotters. Good catch. And that's no lift for Heidi. Next up, we have Andreas with 137.5 on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Ryan. Bars loaded. Yep. And that's a good lift for Andreas. Way to fight it out. Next up, we have Kyle with 157.5 on the bar, followed by Ryan and then Nathan. Bars loaded for Kyle. And that's a good lift for Kyle, nice and smooth. Next up, we have Ryan with 160 kilos on the bar, followed by Nathan, and then Aaron. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Ryan. Next up, we have Nathan, who would like 190 kilos on the bar, followed by Aaron. Bars loaded. And good fight, but not today. He'll come back. He'll try that next time. And next we have Aaron with 225 on the bar. Looks like our final bench of the day. Let's get behind Aaron on this one. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Aaron. Once again, big, huge thanks to the spotters and loaders. We can see how they kept our lifters safe today. They continue to do amazing work. We're going to take a break now, 10 minutes. Get set up for our final event of the day, the deadlift. Get up, stretch your legs around, and we'll be back in a few. Flight A, 2 minutes to change openers, 2 minutes to change openers. Flight A, no more changes to openers, no more changes to openers. Just under 3 minutes till lifting. One minute till lifting starts again. If I can get the spotters, loaders, and refs back to the platform, we'll get started in just under a minute. Our lifter order will start with Dana, followed by Chelsea, then Tori. Refs and spotters and loaders to the platform. We're ready to start. So Dana with 107.5 kilos on the bar. Bar is loaded. And that's a good lift for Dana. Next up, we have Chelsea with 130 kilos on the bar, followed by Tori, then Kate. Bars loaded for Chelsea. That's a good lift for Chelsea. Next up, we have Tori, the same weight, 130 kilos, followed by Kate, then Haley. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Tori. Next up, Kate with 132.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Haley and then Teresa. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Kate. Next up, we have Haley with 137.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Teresa and then Milena. Bars loaded for Haley. And that's a good lift for Haley. Next up, we have Teresa with 140 kilos on the bar, followed by Milena, then Brittany. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift. Next up, we have Milena with 145 kilos on the bar, followed by Brittany and then Rashina. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Milena. Next up, we have Brittany, followed by Rashina. Then back to the top of the lineup with Dana. This is a provincial record attempt for Brittany, so let's get behind her on this one. And that's a good lift and a new provincial record for Brittany. Next up, we have Rashina with 190 kilos on the bar, followed by Dana and then Chelsea. Bars loaded. And good lift for Rashina. Next up, we have Dana with 125 kilos on the bar, followed by Chelsea and then Tori. Lifters in flight B, we are on second deadlifts. Lifters in flight B, we're on second deadlifts. Bars loaded for Dana. And good lift for Dana. Nice work. Next up, we have Chelsea with 137.5, followed by Kate and then Tori. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Chelsea. Next up, we have Kate with 140 kilos on the bar, followed by Tori and then Teresa. Bars loaded for Kate. And that's a good lift for Kate. Lots of determination. Nice work, Kate. Next up, we have Tori with 142.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Teresa and then Haley. Bars loaded. That's a good lift for Tori. Next up, we have Teresa with 145 on the bar, followed by Haley and then Milena. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift. Next up, we have Haley with 145 kilos on the bar, followed by Milena, then Brittany. Bars loaded. And good lift. Next up, we have Milena with 152.5, followed by Brittany and then Rashina. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Milena. Next up, we have Brittany with 177.5 on the bar for a provincial record attempt, followed by Rashina, and then back to the top with Dana. Provincial record attempt here. Let's get behind her. Let's go, Brittany. And that's a good lift for Brittany and a new provincial record. Nice work. Next up, we have Rashina with 202.5 on the bar, followed by Dana, then Chelsea. Bars loaded for Rashina. And that's a good lift for Rashina. Next up, we have Dana with her final deadlift and final lift of the day with 137.5 kilos, followed by Chelsea and then Kate. Flight B lifters. We are on final deadlifts for Flight A. Deadlifts are flying by. Bar is loaded. Let's get behind these lifters for their final deadlifts, final lifts of the day. And that's a good lift for Dana. Next up, we have Chelsea with 142.5 kilos, followed by Kate and then Tori. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Chelsea. Next up, we have Kate with 145 on the bar, followed by Tori and then Haley. Bars loaded. Good effort there at the end of the day. No lift for Kate. Next up, we have Tori with 147.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Haley and then Teresa. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Tori. Next up, we have Haley with 152.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Teresa and then Milena. Flight B lifters, 2 lifters to change your openers. 2 lifters to change your openers, Flight B. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Haley. Next up, we have Teresa with 155 kilos, followed by Milena and Brittany. Flight A lifters, if you can stick around, after Flight B, we'll be doing the Best Lifter Awards, so make sure to stick around. Bars loaded. Let's cheer these guys on. They're doing their final lifts of the day. Let's go, Teresa. No lift today on that one, but she'll give it a shot next time. Good effort, Teresa, good effort. Next up, we have Milena with 160 kilos, followed by Brittany and then Rashina. No more changes to openers, Flight B. No more changes to openers. Bars loaded. And no lift, but a great day for Milena. Next up, we have Brittany with 180 kilos. Provincial record attempt. Provincial record attempt for Brittany. Followed by Rashina, then Flight B. Bars load. Let's go, Brittany. And she'll come and try that again next time. No lift, but great day for Brittany. Final lifter in Flight A, we have Rashina with 210 kilos on the bar. And then we'll start Flight B with Kala and then Vicky. Bars loaded for Rashina. And that's a good effort on Rashina's part. Max effort today. Nice work, Rashina. Moving into Flight B, we have Kala with 97.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Vicky and then Heidi. Again, Flight A lifters, if you could stick around, we'll be doing Best Lifter Awards at the end of Flight B. Bars loaded for Kala. And that's a good lift for Kala. Next up, we have Vicky with 120 kilos on the bar, followed by Heidi and then Michelle. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Vicky. Next up, we have Heidi with 130 kilos on the bar, followed by Michelle and then Nathan. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Heidi. Next up, we have Michelle with 135 kilos on the bar, followed by Nathan and then Max. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Michelle. Next up, we have Nathan with 197.5 kilos on the board, followed by Max and then Aaron. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Nathan. Next up, we have Max with 200 kilos on the bar, followed by Aaron and then Kyle. Bar is loaded for Max. And that's a good lift for Max. Next up, we have Aaron with 225 on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Andreas. Bar is loaded. That's a good lift for Aaron. Next up, we have Kyle with 232.5 kilos, followed by Andreas, and then Ryan. Bars loaded. Nice and smooth. Good lift for Kyle. Next up, we have Andreas with 265 kilos, followed by Ryan, and then back up to the top of the list with Kala. Bars loaded for Andreas. And that's a good lift for Andreas. Next up, we have Ryan with 317.5 kilos on the bar. 700 pounds we're looking at. Followed by Kala, then Vicky. Bars loaded. Let's get behind Ryan on this one. It's a big lift, you guys. Let's go, Ryan. And that's a good lift for Ryan. All our Flight B lifters are on the board with their first deadlift. Next up, we have Kala with her second attempt. 107.5 kilos, followed by Vicky and then Heidi. Bars loaded for Kala. And that's a good lift for Kala, nice and smooth. Next up, we have Vicky with 132.5 on the bar, followed by Heidi and then Michelle. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Vicky. Next up, Heidi with 142.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Michelle and then Max. Bars loaded for Heidi. And that's a good lift for Heidi. Next up, we have Michelle with 147.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Max and then Nathan. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Michelle. Next up, we have Max with 212.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Nathan and then Kyle. Bars loaded for Max. And that's a good lift for Max, nice and smooth. Next up, Nathan with 215 kilos on the bar, followed by Kyle and then Aaron. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Nathan. Next up, we have Kyle with 247.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Aaron and then Andreas. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Kyle. Next up, we have Aaron with 250 kilos on the bar, followed by Andreas and then Ryan. Bars loaded. That's a good lift for Aaron. Next up, we have Andreas with 275 kilos, followed by Ryan, and then back up to the top of our list with Kala. Bars loaded for Andreas. And no lift on that one. Andreas will come back and try it again. Next up, we have Ryan with 330 kilos on the bar, followed by Kala, then Vicky. 330 kilos for Ryan. Bars loaded. And no lift for Ryan on that one. Back up to the top of the list. Final deadlifts of the day. Kala with 115 kilos on the bar, followed by Vicky and then Heidi. Last lifts of the day, last lifts of the meet. Let's get behind these guys. They're putting in max effort here. They're giving you everything they've got today. Let's cheer them on through these last deadlifts. Bars loaded for Kala. Let's go, Kala! And that's a good lift for Kala. Next up, we have Vicky with 140 kilos on the bar, followed by Heidi, then Michelle. Bars loaded. Let's go, Vicky. And no lift for Vicky on that one today, but she's on the board with her other lifts. Next up, we have Heidi with 152.5 on the bar, followed by Michelle and then Max. This is Heidi's going for a provincial total record attempt with this lift. Bars loaded for Heidi. Let's go. Let's cheer her on for this one. Let's go, Heidi. And that's a good lift and a provincial total record for Heidi in her first 3-lift equipped meet at M1. Good job, Heidi. Next up, we have Michelle with 157.5 on the bar, followed by Max and then Nathan. Bars loaded. And that's a good lift for Michelle. Next up, we have Max with 220 kilos on the bar, followed by Nathan, then Kyle. Bars loaded. Yeah, go Max! Way to stick with it, Max. And that's a good lift. Next up, we have Nathan with 225 kilos, followed by Kyle, then Aaron. Bars loaded. Let's go, Nathan. Let's go, Nate. That's a good lift for Nathan. Next up, we have Kyle with 260 kilos on the bar, followed by Aaron, then Andreas. And the bar's loaded for Kyle. Let's go. A no lift for Kyle on that one today, but he's on the board with a great day. Next up, we have Aaron with 272.5 kilos on the bar, followed by Andreas and then Ryan. Bars loaded. Let's go, Aaron. And that's no lift for Aaron, but a great day of lifting overall. Next up, we have Andreas with 275 kilos on the bar, followed by Ryan. Our last two lifters of the day, let's really get behind them. Bars loaded for Andreas. Let's go, Andreas, you got this. And not today, but Andreas is on the board with his last one. Good day of lifting overall. Final lifter of the day, Ryan, is going to reattempt three. Oh, Ryan is going to let the clock run out. And so that concludes the day today of lifting. Thank you all for coming and cheering on your favorite lifters. We want to thank the spotters and loaders again for keeping all of our lifters safe and secure today. Huge thank you to all the refs and all the volunteers who came out to make today happen. And congratulations to all the lifters on all the lifts, the PRs, and the new records.
All right. Is this on? Yeah. Just a couple of housekeeping items, and then we will do our Best Lifter Awards. There's a couple of meat t-shirts left, $20 at the back table. Inner Strength products will be open. We're just literally across the road. Go out the south door, not the building, straight across to the left. If you need to do any in-person shopping, we'll be available about 5 minutes after awards for that. And then after Best Lifter Awards, I have one small request for all lifters. All right, again, a huge thank you to all spotters, loaders, referees, volunteers for the day. Without you, this meet does not happen. And then we have two Best Lifter Awards to give out this session. The first one we'll do is our Best Equipped Lifter. So the best lifter awards are based on your good lift points. So our best equipped lifter today is Aaron Ziffel. He's coming. All right, we'll give him a minute here. And then our best open lifter of the day based on good lift points, Rashina Grzybowski. And again, thank you to all lifters who came out today. One small request from all lifters. If you can spare 5 minutes, if you don't need to get on the road, if you can carry 2 plates from the warm-up room across the road into our gym, that would make cleanup way easier for us. So if everybody did a couple of plates, it would all be over there. Beyond that, the next competition is in January in Saskatoon.